When you're at zero, you're at zero. So when we realize fear of the past is a big part, but also fear of the future. I will tell you, especially if you're young, you will never overachieve your own self-image. You will never. I've trained so many kids. The ones that make it, the athletes that are superstars, the actresses and actors, the entrepreneurs, they, number one, did not limit. Even though everyone told them they couldn't do it, everyone told them what was missing, what they didn't have, they believed. So that belief of the future, to me, is dictated by a faith that you can do it, that you're protected and promoted in doing it. So the question that Milad had after that setup is, how do I spend more time in belief? Well, practice identifying fear. So fear evokes your ego, and all we've done with the ego is redefine the name. So way back when, Freud, some of you may have learned this, he defined the ego in 4 reactive ways, right? You're afraid, then you prescribe either feeding, fleeing, running away, fighting, or fornicating to preserve your genetics. And so those were the basics way. It still happens today, but you have to be a little smarter today and say, okay, I'm afraid that I'm not worthy, right? It's a common thing that people admit as they get older. I'm afraid I'm not worthy, therefore I'm prescribing a need to be right, or a need to be offended, or a need to be inferior or superior, or a need to be angry, anxious, depressed, guilty, resentful. I promise you, everyone here prescribes every day those ego-based redefined terms. Everyone here has felt guilty, probably today, for something. I saw you with the police out there. Half of you were definitely afraid, right? And then, so if we can spend less time every day, instead of saying I'm not afraid, or I won't be afraid, to instead identify the fear, see what you prescribe to the fear, and make that time period shorter. Right? I tell people all the time, that's how you have so much energy, like you're so old. And I'm like, I have the same amount of energy as you, as all of you, the same exact amount of energy. I've just figured out what I was doing to interfere with it. By identifying fear, identifying what I prescribe to that fear, and then instead of accelerating in the wrong direction, I just get back to center. And that's where my faith comes in. You don't have to have my faith, but my faith is that I'm connected to an unlimited source of energy, an omniscient, all-knowing source that loves me more than my mom. So when I go bankrupt, it's to protect and promote me, not to punish me. So I raised my awareness there. So practice identifying fear and see what you prescribe to it. You'll spend less time in fear and more time with huge inspired energy, as long as you don't limit what you think you can do. I always say, when I start thinking what I can do in the future, I'm like, what's bigger than that? That's the first question I ask. And it's amazing. I could spend all day, infinity plus 1, infinity plus 2. So there's no doubt you all, including me, are limiting what you think. Whether it's your grades, your first job, how much money you can make, who you can marry. I promise you, you limit yourself. Don't do it. You will never overachieve it. Perfect. Great first question. Who's next? Yay! Big fan.
Big fan.
I know I'm a big fan of yours.
Thank you.
Because you cheer for me, yes.
If you could give one piece of advice to people under 20 years old, what would you say?
Great question. What would I tell someone under 20? Same thing I tell people under 30, 40, 50, 60, and 70. People ask me, how the hell did you lose that much money? One reason, I didn't ask for help. Especially if you're young, because the most successful people in the world, nothing brings them more joy than helping young people. Nothing brings them more joy than helping young people. Helping people is great, but helping young people is like that +1. And the funniest thing is, there's 2 types of young people I've met. One's like me, I don't need your help. Right? I made $1 million right out of law school. I was 24 years old, and I thought, that old guy, what does he know? I don't need his help. I know more about the internet than he does, just like you might think you know more about Instagram or TikTok. Well, if you think so, look at my TikTok. I might know something that you don't know. But more importantly, all I want to do is help you. Every single one of her friends that calls me, and there's a couple of them, all I do is say, how can I help? So ask for help. Don't be afraid. Don't think that, you're getting in the way, or you're not worthy of that help, or be afraid of the help, or you don't need the help. Those are the two types of people. Just keep finding people that, hey, I like that running back for the Chargers. I want to be a running back for the Chargers someday. Reach out and tell him, this is what I want. Will you help me? I want to be a billionaire. Reach out, tell him, and then do the work. Do the work. If you're going to ask for help, then do the work, meaning do what they ask you to do. And that person knows so many other billionaires, they'll put you and elevate you so quickly because they're like, you know what? You got to talk to this kid. He's amazing. He does the work.
I would add to that.
Oh yeah, please.
Surround yourself with people that put you up, that bring you up, not people that put you down.
For sure. I'll tell you about that too. And that's one of the things I love about Marlena's friends, right? That's the group that you guys all elevate. But you've two types of, when I have this logo that looks like this. This is how I live my life. I'm reaching up to the Bransons of the world, all the people that I get to be around. The reason I'm around them is I go out and I say, hey man, I need your help. People ask me all the time, how'd you get to know that guy? I asked them for help. And those guys are always elevating me. Not one, when I reach out and ask someone that has or is where I want to be, they're always like, oh, you can do it. Let me help you do it. Always encouraging me. You know who's always discouraging me? Some people below me encourage, but the only people that discourage me are the ones that aren't where I'm at. Oh, you can't do that. Oh, you're an idiot. You're right. It's always these people that aren't even where I am telling me I can't be up here, while the people up here are telling me, yeah, Dave, you can do it. Let me help you. It's easy. I've already made the mistakes. So, look and see. I always say what other people think of me is none of my business. I know that's really hard when you're young, because I definitely cared what everyone thought of me. The truth was, they weren't thinking about me anyway. They might have one thought about me and then they go right to their favorite person themselves. Immediately. They might say one thing, but they go back to their favorite person all the time, right? So I used to walk in. I remember Lee Steinberg's a famous sports agent that I was the CEO of his company, and I had to speak at Berkeley, and it was impromptu. Note, because he was drunk, he couldn't speak, so I got pushed in there. And I was like, shit. And I wasn't really dressed up. I'm like, dude, what are they gonna think about what I'm wearing? And he goes, trust me, when you walk in a room, nobody's like, oh my God, look what Dave Meltzer is wearing. They're sitting there saying, oh my God, I hope I'm wearing this dress okay. They only care about what they're wearing. People only care what they're wearing, trust me. They may comment, but they don't care. And neither should you. You should listen to people's advice and hold on to the advice that resonates with you. But most of the advice I get, I'm grateful that someone cares enough, either by hating me or loving me, but I just let it fall through my hands like a handful of sand with appreciation, especially your parents. Especially your parents. Just say thank you. But I will tell you, as a parent, one of the greatest lessons, there's two types of people. Ignorant people that don't know what they don't know, and ignorant people that don't know what they don't know. The difference between the two, there's ignorant, humble people that will tell you the truth. Should I go to college? Julie.
Sorry.
So the ignorant, humble people admit, I don't know what I don't know. But ignorant, arrogant people pretend like they do. The scariest ignorant, arrogant people I know are not the haters on the internet or haters that, those people are obvious. They hate you. They say stupid shit. Like I've seen the dumbest stuff. Someone on the internet the other day is like, yeah, they're like, you stole gratitude from Gary Vee. Like, I'm like, I'm older than Gary Vee. My grandma taught me gratitude before Gary Vee was alive. You can't steal something you already had. But those people don't bother me. I laugh at that. You know what bothers me is my mom. My mom bothers me. I'll tell you why. Because my mom, I'll try to say this without choking up and embarrassing Marlena. My mom will lie in front of a bus for me. Today, 80 years old. If I told her right now, hey, I have a choice. You lie in front of that bus and get killed, or I'm going to have to, she wouldn't even look at me. She would dive in front of the bus. But my mom is what I call an ignorant, arrogant person, because she loves me so much. She's way more afraid for me than I am for myself. So every piece of advice my mom gives me is not good advice because it's based on what? Fear. So if I ask my mom, should I go in the internet or be a real lawyer? It was always be a real lawyer because you could get hurt because the internet's a fad like blockchain. It's not going to work. That was 1992. It wasn't because she was trying to hurt me. You know, when people tell you should go to college, you shouldn't go to college, you should study this. How the hell do they know? Right? If you want to go to college, then find someone that's at the college that you want to go and say, hey, what is it like here? What do you like here? What don't you like here? And see if it resonates with you. But don't have someone that loves you so much to give you advice when they're afraid for you. So take their advice with a handful to sand. Say, oh yeah, that's great advice. I'm just so grateful you care about me. And go ask someone that actually sits in that situation. And then the ignorant, arrogant people that don't love you, that's easy. You know they don't love you. You didn't steal gratitude, I promise. Next question. Yes.
Somewhat related to the same question, but a little bit more specific. For college students going through their college career and trying to decide what they want to do professionally, how do you navigate like things kind of superficial, like not being driven by money, but being driven by like what you want to pursue and knowing how, like what that is?
That's a great question. And this applies to not only college students, but everybody here. That's what, she said, for college students, how do we determine, our future about what to do today? Like care about money, don't care about money, making these decisions for the future. And that's in their career, especially like what to do. If somebody would have told me that this is what I would do for a living, even 3 years ago, I wouldn't believe them. So I've created the best method for this for every age, and it's called the 5 daily practices. So my philosophy in life is this: all I need to care about is today, in a trajectory of where I want to be or I think I want to be today. And I do that every day, and then I align the lessons from the past, the meaning of the past, with where I want to be as well. So I always start out and say, okay, I have 24 hours a day. I know that's true. I know the future is infinite. I also know the past is infinite. If you don't understand the past is infinite, just all of us can close our eyes for a few seconds and think 100 million years in the past, and we all can go there. It's infinite. The future is infinite. So if I just decide, instead of attaching my emotions to an address that can disappoint me and is uncertain, if I attach my emotions to an address that exists today and improve upon that address, I'm going to be better off. So what do? What do I want today, personally? Let's say it's to empower over 1 billion people. Okay, I want to empower over 1 billion people today in that trajectory. So I am going to look at what I want personally, experientially what I want today. Well, considering I have my beach house today and I have people over here, I'm choosing certain activities today aligned with the circumstances that exist today. What do I want to give today? And what do I want to receive today? Then you can ask yourself that question earlier, who can I help and who can help me? In the trajectory of where I want to be. Then I ask myself, how do I do it? What am I going to do today in the trajectory of owning a penthouse in San Diego or a beach house or getting married or graduating? What am I going to do today? What am I going to say today to do that? Think today, believe today, and feel today in order to move in that trajectory. And guess what? Tomorrow could come and a whole different circumstances. I could change my mind. But what happens is every day you're working in the context of progress. And so it's aggregating progress. And eventually you end up in a place that you never could imagine. I call it better. So it falls into the context of what, who, how, now, applying my why each day in a trajectory. I think I want to be a lawyer today. That's all I care about. I think I want to be a lawyer today or better. And then I take all the meaning of the past and I align it with being a lawyer or better, which, by the way, is not hard to be a lawyer or better. And then I do everything, think everything, say everything, believe and feel towards being a lawyer or better. And then tomorrow I make the same decision. It's not overwhelming. It's not overwhelming because you have a 24-hour context of busting your butt for 24 hours or relaxing for 24 hours or some weighted balance in between. And you should, if you do it by the day, if you're young, you should have weighted so much more towards what you personally want and what you want to experience than what you're giving. But when you're my age, I have a weighted balance towards the majority of my days to give back to other people, not, oh, what do I want a Ferrari or whatever. I had all that. And I hope you get what you want when you're young and you learn from what you wanted. And it will make you happy and empowered. Question?
I was going to say, what's something that you would tell someone that has a specific goal or a career choice or something that they're working towards and they keep getting knocked down? Like, how do you tell them to keep going?
Yeah, so how do you tell people to keep going when they keep getting knocked down? Well, first of all, thank you. I'll talk to you later. First of all, to share with you, if you're not getting knocked down, then you're not trying. You're not trying. So you literally just have to understand that people tell me all the time, I'm stuck, right? I'm stuck. I'm like, oh, thank God. Like, what do you mean? I'm like, well, that means you're trying. What do you mean? Well, if I put you in that room and I locked the door, but you were watching Netflix, you would not feel stuck. But the minute you try to get out and I put a bolt and change on that door, and you're trying to get out, you would feel what? Stuck in the room. So it's a good thing that you're getting knocked down. The thing is, what do I do when I get knocked down? And it's not necessarily utilizing motivation or fear to get up or get back up, get started or get back started. What is truly the thing that keeps you going is when you take the perspective, all right, I got my teeth kicked in, what am I supposed to learn from it? And there's 3 ways to learn from getting knocked down. 1, what was I responsible for this? How am I responsible for getting knocked down? 2, what did I do to attract getting knocked down? And 3 is the most important one. It's what am I doing to participate in this perception that this is getting knocked down, not getting promoted and protected? What am I doing to participate in a perception of being a victim? What am I doing to participate in a perception that I'm in pain? Right? And you know what instantly takes you out of it? Is if you can train your mind, what am I supposed to learn from this? Instead of, how can I get revenge? How can I overcome this? How can I resist this? Whatever it is, it's just simply how and what am I learning? And then once again, you're on that progress chain again that aggregates, compounds exponentially and accelerates your life. All right, next question. Yes, sir.
Hey, so I've got an Amazon marketing agency.
Yeah, you do.
For the referrals, by the way.
You're welcome.
So my team, we've got 15 employees, and my client service team, they're talking about inflation, cost of living rising, and so I'm just trying to figure out what's a really fair compensation way, on an annual basis. Should I be giving at least at a bare minimum inflation-based rates? I'm trying to always make it tied to performance and
Yeah.
how many clients you can manage, things like that. So what would you recommend for just in general for
Sure.
keeping the team incentivized?
Yeah, so how do we figure out what to pay people?
Yeah.
And I just did a speech in Indianapolis about incentivizing people, and it's money that incentivizes people and appreciation, which is adding value to your employees, right? Appreciation, your house appreciates, it goes up in value. If you appreciate your employees, they go up in value. And so knowing what form of appreciation they like is a great way to sustain and grow your employees. So I believe there's 5 ways to incentivize people, and if you can tie your comp plan to it, it doesn't matter what their salary is. And so for me, number 1 is incentivize people to build your business, meaning what you do today, whether you're an accountant, how is that creating more revenue for the company? And then bonus them for that. I give monthly bonuses to everyone. Marlena gets hers for going to the beach. And listening, showing up. I know. So 1 is sales. If you want to incentivize people and treat them fairly, why not incentivize the people that are bringing more revenue into the company and can articulate that? 2, asking for help. People that work with you that ask for help, it's indicative of people that will help your company grow, right? And they'll make less mistakes. 3, engagement and availability. It used to just be engagement because everyone was sitting in your office, but it's actually a combination of how engaged someone is and how available they are. And then 4, lying to themselves. So for me, if I catch someone lying to me, that means they probably lied approximately 10 other times that I haven't caught them. Now, there's varying degrees of lies, right? For example, Nick, he lies to me every time he sees me. He'd be like, "Oh, you look so good today, Dave." Right? I get it. And I know he lies 10 other times about me in a positive way. But there's other people that may make critical lies. And then you have to decide whether or not you want that in there. And then the final one is something that most people don't do that I do, is I bonus people for studying time. Because if you study time, then you'll be more productive, more accessible, and more gracious. When you're utilizing your time with attention and intention towards a collective goal of your business, those people are way more productive, way more accessible, meaning accessible to their clients, the people that work with them, and receiving more, and they're more gracious, which is, to me, one of the cornerstones of being a great employee. And so the way that I do it in my company is every month I grade the 4 executives in my company for those 5 things. So they get an A, B, C, D, or F. And then via the GPA, they get a certain percentage bonus of the net profit for the month. Then they grade the 7, each of them have 7 employees below those 4. They grade them, and then everyone has a mentee, like the exceptional Marlena, and she gets graded by her mentor. Who's your mentor?
Like 3 people.
3 people. Very high GPA.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah.
Do you think,
Oh.
I want to ask a follow-up.
All right, go ahead. We follow up, and then I'll get.
You spoke the other day, I guess you were in Indianapolis, but you said time is infinite. I mean, again, you're the only person who says that because we all hear time is finite. And I'm on the last third of my life kind of thing. And so I'd love to hear that time is infinite. Can you talk a little bit more about that?
Yeah. So time to me is infinite in 2 time zones. One, the past, which gives you the ability to give it a meaning that you want it to have. So I've seen people ruin their future because they don't understand that time's infinite in the past. So they'll take a failure, success, one or the other. They'll take a defining moment of their past, like a bankruptcy. They'll even take historical relevance or to the past, and they'll ruin their future. I met a lady, I spoke at the World Summit for Sports in France, and after I spoke, the lady's like, "Oh, whoa, I could appreciate your positivity, but what about the French-American War?" Exactly. But that's what people do. They create interferences to their future by putting some wrong meaning of interference to a past that's infinite. The future is infinite. It's going to go on forever. And whether, and this is, up for debate or whatever, I believe all these woo-woo things only for one reason. So I believe in a God, an omniscient, all-powerful, all-knowing God. Not because I don't believe in Jesus or Christianity, Catholicism, Judaism. I don't care about any of them. I only believe in something bigger than me, an omniscient, all-powerful, all-knowing source, like Jesus, like God, for one reason. Because nobody has been able to, in all the years I've been speaking and the millions of people that are in my community now, no one's come up with something better to believe in. I can't prove it. I don't need to waste my time proving it. Because there's millions of people that can come to me, and I've offered to everyone, tell me something better to believe in, something that's omniscient, all-powerful, all-knowing, and protects, promotes me, and loves me more than my mom. And I'll believe in it. You can call it Jesus, you can call it Muhammad, you can call it Buddha. I don't care what you call it, because that's what I believe in until someone can give me something better. The same thing with infinite time of the future, because you said what most people do. Well, I got a third of my life left. No, you don't. Why? Because I believe that our spirit never ends. This is a bag of beliefs. And why do I believe in a million future lives of mine? Because nobody can prove it. And 2, it's the best option.
Oh, I love that option.
Right? I take it. Why not? Like, why believe in one life when you can believe in 100 million of them? And unless someone can prove to me there's one life or 100 million lives, I'm sticking to the best option. Why? Because I know my beliefs, right? My beliefs, they are the powerful thing that indicate what you do, say, think, feel every day. So if I believe something that's not the best option, I'm not going to think, do, say, and feel better than the people that think this way. Yes, sir.
I'm glad you asked that first, because I was going to kind of change the subject a little bit here.
Go ahead.
Do you think money has led to more happiness in your life?
That's an awesome question. That's like literally one of the best questions that changed my life. He asked, does money buy happiness or love? So I spent the first 30 some years of my life not only thinking that it would, but thinking that it did, and then realizing that money is an energy. So what I've learned about money, and the first thing in my motto, which they took down from your high school, they switched it around when I sponsored the scoreboard. The scoreboard, my motto is make a lot of money to help a lot of people and have a lot of fun. Because you can't give more with less. But they changed it at the school, help a lot of people, have a lot of fun, and make money. Make a little money or something. What a scarce way to live your life. Money does not buy love or happiness. It's an energy. It allows you to shop. And if you shop for the right things, for the right reasons, it'll make you really happy. And I'll tell you a quick story because it's one of my favorite in my life. I think there's a video on TikTok. Millions of people are loving this video, but it's so true. I coached this kid, and he was literally 19 or 20, and he said, Mr. Meltzer, I want one-on-one coaching. I said, well, it's $1,500 a month. I'll give you a refund if it's not worth it, but why don't you just go to the free Friday trainings or the free meetups? You don't need to pay me. No, I need you to teach me one-on-one every day. I said, all right. He said, I'm saving up for it. He came and he's like, I got $3,000. I want 2 months. I was like, just month to month, bro, give me $1,500, save the other. And we trained every single day. He was calling me, asking me questions, reading my books, my exercises. He made $1 million living literally maybe on the street, maybe in his friend's couch. I don't know where he was living, but it was all the money he had into coaching, which, by the way, as a coach, is a lot of pressure. So he makes his first $1 million, and what does he buy? A Lambo. Thank you. So I call him up, and I was like, Tay, I go, man, I don't think I can coach you anymore because I don't think you're getting what I'm teaching. He's like, what are you talking about? I said, I told you, money buys love and happiness if you buy the right things for the right reasons. A Lambo is not it, bro. All you're doing is telling every girl on the street what your true anatomy is, and proving to your friends you're an a-hole. Trust me, I know, because I did the same thing. Right? I speak from experience. So then he says, well, Mr. Meltzer, he said, I think you're wrong. I said, what do you mean? He said, where I'm from, every kid stops me when I'm driving that car. And they ask me one question, how did you get that car? Are you a rap star? Are you a basketball player? Are you a drug dealer? Crypto? How did you afford a Lambo living in this neighborhood? I know your family. I know your siblings. How did you do that? Did you steal that? And he says, no, I read books and I teach people. That car bought him more happiness, right? It's not the thing. It's buying the right things for the right reasons. And yes, it could look to other people as it's the wrong thing for the wrong reasons, but you never know. Which is why judgment, right? Judgment is nothing but an opinion based on ignorance and fear. And that's what I based my judgment on, ignorance and fear that I had wasted my time for this kid. So learn that money's super important. But you need to buy the right things for the right reasons and know why. You can't give more with less. Patrick.
What do you think of the phrase be realistic? For myself, I always have to create super big goals that get me excited to go after them. But I notice it seems like some of my friends or people I grew up with, they're always like, oh, I don't want to aim too high because if I don't reach that big goal I named, then I'm a failure and people are going to laugh at me, sort of thing. They limit their own, you know.
Yeah, there are a lot of things in there. What do you think about the phrase, be realistic? What do you think about having huge goals? What do you think about people laughing at you, scoffing at you, making fun of you? I will tell you, if people laugh at you, make fun of you, and scoff at you, eventually they'll applaud you. Ask Michael Jordan, ask Elon Musk, ask them all. You're laughed at, you're scoffed at, you're made fun of, and then they applaud you. There's only one time that you need to be realistic. From the time the sun comes up and the time you fall asleep. Just be realistic today. What can I do today in the trajectory of this unbelievable mission of mine, empower over 1 billion people to be happy? I walked this beach, came home, we finally got back on our feet from moving everything, bought this house, right? And I came in and Julie saw that look on my face. She's like, what's up? I said, I know what I'm supposed to do with my life. What is it? I'm gonna empower over 1 billion people to be happy. And I thought she was gonna die laughing, but she didn't. But a ton of other people, like my rabbi brother and everybody that has their opinion based on ignorance and fear that I can't do it because they love me so much, they want me to be disappointed. I won't be here in this dream that I can't even imagine having more TikTok followers than you. Now look at that guy without a shirt on. You'd think he'd have a lot more followers.
You haven't seen his OnlyFans.
Exactly, I haven't seen his OnlyFans. No. No, he's older. He's an adult. But I think so many people limit their self-image because of what other people think when they laugh and scoff and make fun of you. Next question. You know the yes. Yeah. Come closer. You guys do not have to stay, by the way, if you're not.
David, number one, I want to thank you that after 4 years I finally met you.
Thank you.
It's across the border. But number one, I want to thank you because 4 years ago in Mexico City, you inspired my son. He was in high school. They done the whole international internship.
Yeah, junior achievement. I spoke in Mexico City, yes.
So you were the spokesperson at that event. So when he came home, he got completely inspired. I wrote you a thank you note 4 years ago for inspiring my son, my character so much. So I just want to thank you for that and also for inspiring me to continue with my business because I was so close this year to give up after 25 years. And I was just ready to throw in the towel. And I changed my mindset. So I want to thank you for that. And what question do I have for you?
I'll take the thank you.
What else can we do? What else can you do for the community to keep empowering the young people, especially the new generation?
Yeah.
As a mother, I'm terrified.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm terrified.
And it's funny because I'm a father of 4, and I had that mindset of like, oh my gosh, I've never been this afraid.
Yes.
Because I'm way more afraid for them. And then I think I'm lucky because I've known my wife since the 4th grade. So not only do I know the dumb shit that I did, but I know the dumb shit that she did. And somehow we ended up here. But I will tell you this, because I do dedicate a lot of my life to junior achievement and the young people, which is the world's largest entrepreneurial group of kids, 15 to 25. We have 100 million alumni. It's a big group. I'll tell you this about these kids. Our bench is deep. So, I mean, they're just amazing. And we were just as amazing, and our parents were terrified for us. And yeah, will they do dumb things? Yeah, but they'll learn from it. And they'll be smarter about it than we were about the dumb things that we did. And so I don't put my mindset, especially with my kids, on what I'm worried about, what I'm missing, what they don't have. One of the greatest blessings of having my own children work with me is it sets a standard of all the other kids that I'm with, because I'm like, wait a second, when I was 24, I wasn't even nearly where any of my kids are. My 13-year-old, like, his mindset is just amazing. His character is so much greater than mine. And somewhere along the round, all the effed up things that I was changed. And so will they, but we have to let them. Does anyone read Napoleon Hill ever or heard of Napoleon Hill? Napoleon Hill's granddad had a great analogy to raising kids. He cleared a farm when Napoleon Hill was a kid. He cleared his farm, but he left 3 oak trees in the middle of the farm. And Napoleon Hill was a little boy. He's like, Grandpa, why'd you leave those trees? He said, those are wagon wheels. He said, what do you mean? He says, they have nothing protecting them now. They're going to be so strong, so adaptable, because the wind's going to blow them, the snow, the rain, everything's going to hit them. And when they're grown up, I'm going to cut them down because I'm going to use that wood as my wagon wheels. Strong, adaptable. It's going to take me places. That's what these kids are. Right? We got to let them, yes, be out there in the wind, offer them advice, teach them to do their best, learn lessons, and have fun. I'm going to repeat that. All you got to do to everyone around you is inspire them to do their best, learn lessons, and have fun. You'll live a great life, and you will progress at an accelerated time. And what do you tell your kids? I'm going to tell kids what to tell their parents and parents what to tell their kids. Tell your kids 3 things every day. I love you, I'm proud of you, and I always have your back. Kids, tell your parents 4 things every day. Tell them you're happy, tell them you're healthy, tell them you love them and appreciate them. Don't have to agree with them, don't have to do what they say, but if you let them know every day you're happy, healthy, you love and appreciate them, they will not worry about you. I promise. Your parents will be like, go get it, man, you're fine. Because that's all no matter what rhetoric they give you, BS about do this, don't this, clean your room. And if you want to clean your room, just ask Ella, she'll clean your room. She likes it.
I'll deep clean.
It does not make you a bad person if you don't clean your room. It makes you a messy person. That's all. But let your parents know, that's all they care about. Yes?
Do you think social media has positively or negatively influenced the new generation
Do you think social media has positively or negatively influenced the new generation? Both. So has TV, radio, speeches, books, parents. They're not all the same. I know my shit's on the internet. And you have moms out there that come and tell me that changed their sons' lives from hearing and watching my videos. And there's other people that think my videos are stupid. So just remember, it's both. The thing that you want to help yourself and others with is, what am I putting my attention and intention? Am I looking for what I want? Biggest marriage advice I had is I changed the way what I looked for in my wife. Now I do it with everything. I look for certain things on the internet, on TV, right? I don't watch The Housewives, right? That's not what I'm looking for in my life. That's not what I'm looking for. Like I'm watching Joel Osteen. That's what I'm looking for in my life. And I don't care whether you like either one. It doesn't bother me. That's what resonates with you or you want to look for in your life. I know that the people and ideas you surround yourself with are the greatest way to get to where you want to be or better. It's that simple. And when I surrounded myself with the wrong people and the wrong ideas, I ended up in the wrong places and losing everything. Any more questions? Philip? No? Oh, yeah. From the corner.
So more related to your personal experience, like, who did you look up to or who did you, like, kind of put for that person as, like, I want to be in their position, I need advice from them?
He's asking, who did I look up to that I want to be like this person? The first entrepreneur that I looked up to was Ray Kroc. He's a founder. He bought that right to call himself. He wasn't really the founder, which I found out later on in my life, of McDonald's, right? Ray Kroc, but he also owned the San Diego Padres. He also had the Ronald McDonald House that he funded around the country. But yeah, when I was a young boy in San Diego, Ray Kroc was who I wanted to be like. I wanted to be super rich. I wanted to own a baseball team. Then I could play for it, pay for myself. I wanted to have hospitals and schools named after me or my company. He was amazing. So that was the first person. But I will tell you, 3 mentors at all times. The number one mentor, if you don't and can't afford one, if you're not studying sleep at a very young age, you literally are not taking advantage of a third of your life. And that third of your life has more power over the rest of your life than you would imagine. It's the easiest thing to do. So I have a sleep coach for 17 years. So I put myself in a position to unwind, to recover more effectively than most people, and to access information that I can use for the next day. So, but most people go to bed and they wake up more tired and they don't see that there's anything wrong with it.
So going off of that, how much do you think is a good amount of sleep?
Great question. How much is a good amount of sleep? Well, I have a coach and I utilize 5 to 7 hours of sleep every day, but certain ages and certain genetics, some people need 8 to 10 hours. But the thing is, not how much sleep do I need, is how much sleep will it take to recover, maximize my recovery, and access the information while I'm sleeping. What information am I accessing? The omniscient, all-powerful, and all-knowing. And so that's why I meditate first thing in the morning, because I hated meditation, I resisted meditation. First lady that wanted me to meditate, I told her she was stupid, it was a waste of time. Then it took me years. First step in meditation, learn to sit still. Second step of meditation, learn to shut up. Third step of meditation, after you know how to sit still and shut up, learn to be aware. Last step of meditation for me, transcendence. 17 years of meditation, 20 minutes a day, I transcend the information I receive while I sleep into my day in the 20 minutes that I meditate. It just comes to me, and then right, I can channel in the day, I plateau every day, I keep growing every day, just a little bit. You know, if you grow 1% every day, do you know how many days it takes you until you're twice as good as you were at that thing that you're 1% better at? Anyone know how many days it takes?
72.
Yeah, 72, it's the rule of 72. So if you get 0.5% better at something every day, it'll take you 144. If you're a quarter, it'll take you 288, less than a year. To be twice as good, that's exponentiality. So you don't have to be and focus in and put your emotional address on, I'm gonna be twice as good. No, I'm gonna be 0.25% better tomorrow at dieting, at exercising, at reading, at speaking, at podcasting, at making money, whatever it is. And within less than a year, you'll be twice as good. And guess what? If you continue it, you'll be 4 times as good in less than a year, because twice as good is 4 times. And then the next period of time is 8 times as good. That's the exponentiality of a percentage, 0.25% better every day. That's how doubling works. This is the rule of an energy of law of energy. Energy tracks the same energy, it aggregates on itself, it exponentially gives you outcomes, which is a good and a bad thing, because we can't be aware of our outcomes because they're exponential. Meaning if you do bad things, it takes you 90% of the way till you become aware of like a cough, and then it only takes another 10% before you have lung cancer, or you're an alcoholic, or you're a drug addict. But good behavior is even worse, because when we have bad behavior, we don't expect a result. Good behavior, like my friend here, she expects instant results. And so, 25 years seems like a long time. But all of a sudden, I'm aware I'm 25% of the way there after 25 years. Well, 5% more of 25, pretty soon I'm 50% of the way, then 100% of the way there. There is an instant result to positive behavior. It's called progress, positive progress. There is an instant result to negative behavior, negative progress. Make your choice. Let exponentiality of outcomes and acceleration work in your favor, not against you. The biggest paradigm shift, besides asking for help, was to take inventory of the skills and knowledge and desire that I had progressed with over 38 years. So I put and said, okay, what have I learned? who do I know and what do I know, and then increase my desire that I must be what I can be. Not listen to all the haters. There's terrible people at that time. You know what hurt me the most? Just so you know how friends are. So I've always made money, and I had close friends of mine. Oh, I want to invest in this. Can I invest in this? I'm like, it's not worth it to me. I got plenty of money. I don't need your money. No, you're always leaving us out. So like I'd let them put like 5 or 10 grand into a deal. Well, when 2008 came, some of those friends that put $5,000 or $10,000 into my deal, after I said I don't want your money, when they went bankrupt, not because of the $5,000 or $10,000, they just joined the bandwagon and said, oh, well, if it wasn't for that David Meltzer, I wouldn't have gone bankrupt. Had nothing to do with the $2 million house and the fact that you invest, it had to do with the $5,000 I told you not to give me. But that's the way people are. They're not accountable. They're not learning lessons. So I learned a great lesson from it, right? I'm surrounding myself with the right people, the right idea. I have a matrix of feeding and bleeding. I identify my friends, even my friends' friends, and I say, does this kid bleed me or feed me? And how relative are they to me? So, and I say this too much on camera, my mom bleeds the shit out of me. But she's so relative, I don't care. But I used to let friends of mine from high school bleed me, and they're not relative to me anymore. Right? They do nothing for me. All they do is bleed me. They won't lie in front of a bus for me. In fact, they'll backstab me. And I spent so many years buying things I didn't need to impress them, doing things to please them. So use the great chain of feeding when you're looking at family and friends, and put it in the matrix of relativity and say, well, this person's really relative to me, so I'm gonna let them bleed me. I might let them fall away sometimes in circumstances where they bleed me the most, but this person's just not relative. Why am I letting them bleed me? Fire them. Any more questions? From the long seats. Hi, Warren. Yes, Nick.
I also, one of my favorite things to always learn from you is how your perspective continues to evolve and change. So, given past travels, speaking on stages, everything else, what's the most valuable lesson or takeaway you've had in the last week?
In the last week?
Yeah.
It was probably the bag of beliefs. I've tried to articulate certain things, and not everybody gets it. And it seems to me that when we look at ourselves as a bag of beliefs that can control what we do, say, think, and feel, it's incredibly powerful. And so if I'm not doing what I want, I'm not saying what I want, I'm not thinking what I want or feeling it, I go directly to the beliefs that are aligned with what I'm doing, saying, thinking, and I change. It's so easy to change your beliefs. And I talk about an invisible assumption. A lot of times our beliefs are built off of invisible assumptions. And so for me, I've been using my beliefs to say, well, that's only true if you assume this. Like, for example, when you go bankrupt, that you hit rock bottom. That's an invisible assumption. Because actually, when I lost everything and had to claim bankruptcy, I was 2 years ahead of where I felt I hit rock bottom, which is when my wife told me the truth, that she was gonna leave me, that I was a piece of shit, a liar, a cheater, and that I better take stock in who I was and what I wanted to become, or I was gonna be dead. Dead seems to be rock bottom in the bag of beliefs, not losing. You know how many, the average millionaire in America, just so you know, rock bottom, and not that I took offense to that because a lot of people ask me that, the average millionaire in America, the average one, has been bankrupt twice. So to me, if you want to be rich, it seems like there's a lot of lessons in being financially rock bottomed. There's a lot of lessons that come for those that continue on. And I would say to you, the meaning I give my bankruptcy is nothing like the meaning I gave it the day I had to file and tell my mom I lost her house and she had to move.
Because of your beliefs.
Because of my beliefs.
Oh. Was that bag of beliefs you spoke about again in Indianapolis?
In 1972, about human nature, it was a woman who channeled, I can get you the name of it. She said the term, and she channeled it, and her name is, the Nature of Personal Reality is the name of the book, and her name is Jane Roberts. Roberts.
Thank you.
And it's from 1972.
You said that the other day. And
Yeah. I'll go here and then there in the corner.
I know you have a lot of people that are always coming to you with new projects. How do you avoid not getting burnt out? Like, people just always adding on.
Great question. How do you avoid being burnt out? Once again, in the philosophy, this is what I want today and the trajectory of what I want in the future. I vacation every day. Now, what I do is not for everyone, right? I know people that need to take 6 weeks off the grid or whatever. That's just not who I am. I truly believe 2 minutes a day is worth 2 hours on a Saturday. I'm an expert at time. I am being productive, accessible, and gracious. And so, like, even to the point where people ask me, how are you so accessible? How do you deal with all these people? It's because I reverse engineered what I can do. So, people will tell me, hey, can you help me? Sure. Can I have 5 minutes of your time? Sure. Number one, I keep them to 5 minutes. And then two, I am listening for only three things. How I can help you for free, how I can help you in a group setting, or how I could help you one-on-one. Knowing that my time is quantifiable and quantifiably valuable. So is yours. Your time is quantifiable. There's an hour or 24 of them a day, and they're quantifiably valuable. So, for example, I do my group coaching on my non-time because it's much less expensive time. So the way that I do my group coaching is every Monday, I coach anyone in my group, but on my time. So it could be 5 a.m., it could be noon, it could be 7 p.m. Compared to my one-on-one business advisory coaching clients where, they schedule a time, and now if my son wants something at 7:20 a.m., that's expensive time. And so I have those buckets. I give anyone in the world 5 minutes to determine what bucket you fall into, and then it's your choice on which one you want to interact to get my help. Last question right here. It was it? All right.
I could round this out. I was just going to say, outside of this meetup this week,
Yeah.
what else in terms of Southern California, San Diego, what other opportunities?
Oh, sure. Thank you. Yeah, so I want to invite all of you. The next meetup I have is in Orange County. We're filming, I have an Apple TV deal, 2-minute drill. So Monday and Tuesday off of Harbor Boulevard. If you want to come and meet Chicharito, John Asseroff. And then I'm having a private VIP dinner mastermind where you can network. We're going to do some talks at the Water Grill right next to the studio in South Coast Plaza. We limit it to 40 people. So if you want to come to the dinner, we limit that. If you want to come stop by the studio and meet up, we'd love to have all of you. I brought books for everyone. Yep. We have that. And if you wouldn't mind, for my own sake, taking one big picture for me